Welcome back to Business and Beyond. In today's episode, I am joined by Stephen Parker, managing partner of Tycoon House Accounting and an expert in construction and real estate accounting. If you ever wondered what it takes to become a CPA, when to incorporate your business, or how to optimize your taxes, this episode is for you. Stephen shares valuable insights on navigating the housing market, busting common tax myths, and building a successful accounting practice. Whether you're an entrepreneur, real estate investor, or aspiring accountant, you won't want to miss this one. Thank you for watching Business and Beyond. My name is Brian Braga and I am your host. Today we are joined with Stephen Parker, the managing partner of Tycoon House accounting firm, and he is also a licensed accountant with his CA CPA. Stephen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day, actually. It's like semi-snowy out. It's also officially Drop Your Resolutions Day. So if anyone wants to know what day we're recording this, you're going to have to go look that up. So sorry. Anyways, Stephen, do you want to break us down in a little bit of what you do, who you are? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Stephen Parker. As Brian alluded to, I'm managing partner of Tycoon House Accounting. It's a company I've been working on starting this past year and just launched here in January for our kind of official first tax season. And I'm working on specializing in the construction and housing industry for clients to provide them a little more personalized service, proactive, forward-looking accounting so they can integrate their personal financial goals with their business goals.
And what inspired you to pursue a career in accounting?
I've kind of always been into board games and knowing kind of the rules of engagement, if you will. So I looked at accounting like the playbook on businesses and how to run and meet the different requirements, as well as grow and scale within kind of the rules of the industries and the profession as well. So I wanted to be able to look at the playbook and be able to kind of give some insights into individual businesses and kind of connect that financial information with being useful for owning and running businesses. I've always been entrepreneurial at a young age, so it was always a stepping stone for me towards owning and advising business owners.
Nice. Yeah. And at what point did you know that you were ready to start your own accounting practice?
I don't think anyone ever really knows they're fully ready. Starting any business is always a leap of faith, but I've been able to be in the industry for 10 plus years now and kind of had some diverse experiences in both firms and not-for-profits to give me a little bit of both the advising on the accounting as well as running and operating businesses as well. It was the right time for me to kind of marry those two together under my own brand, as well for the timing of my personal life with my family. My daughter's fairly young, so giving me a little more flexibility at home and flexibility of clients and who I'm working with and stuff like that, that really made the impact for me. Like any business, takes time to be successful and build up. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes.
I love that. And this is also news to me that you have a daughter, because I definitely thought you were too young for kids. So now I have no idea how old you are.
I am only 30, but yeah, my daughter's 2 and turning 2 in March here. So
That's adorable. I know you mentioned that you specialize in construction and housing. What made you choose that specialization?
yeah, I've always been fairly handy, doing a lot of figure it out, fix what I can. I've always worked on bikes and cars. And then in university, I was able to secure a construction job in St. Catharines area doing building of barns. So I gained a wide variety of experience from the ground up doing conversions and new constructions for farmers. So there was a lot of the raw skills involved and kind of give me the background in on that construction industry. And then I kind of further built on that experience with my time at Habitat for Humanity as the Director of Finance and Operation. I was overseeing several development projects, working on pro formas and cash flows, creating the debt stack, and ensuring that ensuring the operations and the organization can kind of meet their objectives with development.
Well, you definitely have loads of experience to be launching into your own space now. What was the biggest challenges you've faced so far when launching Tycoon House?
Yeah, for me, the accounting stuff is not as difficult as learning a lot of the marketing and branding and kind of personal promotion. So I see it as both an opportunity and a challenge in that I'm able to build my own brand and my own image rather than building up the image of companies or firms that I would have been working for.
Nice. And are you looking to hire on more accountants or like grow your firm to a point where you have multiple employees, or are you looking to be kind of like a solo project for a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. For just as I'm starting out, I am on my own right now, but the goal longer term is to be able to become a CPA training office and steward the next generation of accountants into more proactive advisory roles for clients and just build good practitioners of the profession.
Nice. And to get into like a CPA training role, like does that take a lot more schooling, or is there like a big legal process, or is that something that you can just do, like just start training other CPAs?
I would have to qualify my company with the CPA Institute as a registered training office and meet certain standards and stuff like that that they set. But because I'm a CA CPA, I'm qualified to be able to operate that and train the next generation of folks. So, assuming all would go well with their licensing process, I'm sure there would be some things that I'd have to adopt and processes and reportings and things like that. But I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and diving into your CA CPA, I know your CPA relates to accounting, and it's the licensing you need. How does the CA CPA differentiate, and what additional credentials does that give you?
Yeah, so in my journey, I was one of the last classes of CPA, so I had to work extremely hard to get the CPA explicitly. Or sorry, the CA explicitly. CPA was formed when the CA, CMA, and CGA, which is Management and Generalist Accountants, joined forces all together under one brand of the CPA. So because of the timing and where I did my schooling and the timing of graduation, I had to challenge and write all of my postgraduate exams leading up to the CPA while I was working and even during tax seasons. So, and I didn't have any options to fail them as I was at the very end of the time frame to get that approved. So, I could have taken and opted for just a CPA. I felt that there was enough value still in with how much work I had already done to try to get the CPA or the CA that I was going to push for that as much as I could, and it did work out great. So, yeah,
And can you still get a CA CPA then, or is it just all umbrellaed under a CPA?
you would no longer be able to get a CA. You can only
Wow,
get a CPA anymore.
nice. Well, that puts you in a category above then.
I Yeah, I think so. Just because I did receive all of that training, and I believe the passing rates of the exams have dropped a little bit since the amalgamation, which makes sense because you're combining a wider range of skills in the profession to bringing them up to a higher standard.
Yeah. And in the process of becoming an accountant and getting your CPA, could you just take us through your journey a little bit like that and what it looked like?
Yeah, so the road to accounting typically starts in high school, choosing your business focused major. There's a few programs that are accredited accounting programs that have 51 credit hours to require, which are required by the institute for your exams coming out of it. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for electives or additional courses. Typically, it's an accounting or commerce focused program with maybe some accounting specializations that you can get into. From there, once you've kind of completed your undergraduate, some programs have 4 to 8 month master's equivalent programs that will get you through those kind of preparatory courses that I did while I was working. I didn't get into those, and I was able to have a job lined up out of my undergraduate that working while doing those was what worked better for my situation. So once I had passed all of those exams, then I was ready for what's called the capstone process. And that's kind of a group presentation and projects to prepare you for that final exam that you then write in September. So once you've pass through those capstones in your group projects, which demonstrates some of your other soft skills in the accounting industry, presenting financial statements and stuff like that. You'd be eligible to write the CFE, which is the Common Federal Examination, I believe. And that's a 3-day exam, 5 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours, written in a room of 1,000 people, say at Binghamton's. And then it's graded over kind of a 3-4 month process, and you find out your results in December. I was fortunate to pass on my first time around. Some people aren't as fortunate, and they can choose to retake the first day or all of the course.
Yeah.
If there is a portion that they had a challenge with.
And is the CPA like a Canada-wide licensing, or is that like Ontario specific?
Yeah, so actually recently Ontario split off from the federal body, I believe. So they've kind of subdivided into provincial and federal. So I think they're still evolving how it all works together. But for us, things relatively remain the same, and our provincial body buys into the federal body. We do still have all the access, but it is a provincial CPA now, I believe.
All right, sweet. And where did you do your post-secondary?
I actually went to Brock University down in St. Catharines.
Nice. How'd you like it for their CPA program?
The CPA program was great, and it was a beautiful campus right on the escarpment, lots of outdoor space, and good places to rent and live in and around that area as well.
Nice. And did you go to high school in Ontario?
I did, yeah. I went in Waterloo to Sir John A. Macdonald, which is now the Highlanders, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know they changed it when I went to high school. Still, it was still SGM.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, did you do DECA?
I think I did do DECA. I did some junior achievement. I did some of the case competitions and a few different events and stuff like that. Throughout, I honestly can't remember all the different ones, because there's been several over the years, and even participated in some judging of events and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, in my high school experience, I didn't take a business course because it was like business or like tech. So I took tech. I did like wood shop and mechanics and stuff. But I did DECA just for fun. And honestly, very memorable experience. I remember we went to provincial, so we were able to stay in Toronto. So DECA was a positive experience. I wanted to see if just a lot of people that ended up in business and went to high school in Ontario, if DECA was a common thing growing up. So I imagine you probably did if you were that involved with business.
Yeah, I believe I did. I just can't remember the acronyms of the different groups and stuff like that. I know I did participate in a few different kind of events. I definitely don't think I went very far or went through to like the judging rounds or anything like that. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And I know you work with incorporating businesses. For those who don't know, what is incorporating, and what are some of the benefits of incorporating your business?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Incorporation is creating a separate legal entity outside yourself. So there's a few reasons and opportunities for why people would think to incorporate. The biggest, from the tax perspective anyway, is you're earning more funds in your business than you're using personally. So by being able to save those funds in a company, you can defer taxes and pay them later and use those funds that you're saving in the business to reinvest and grow your business. So it's a really good mechanism for people looking to grow and scale their businesses, as well as you're provided limited liability. So if you're to be operating on your own and as a construction client, scaffoldings were, say, to fall on your client's head, and they unfortunately decided to take legal action against you, they would, if you were incorporated, be limited to accessing the corporation's funds and insurance policies. So if there was a case in excess of your insurance coverage, your corporation would be liable as much as they could. It could cause bankruptcy, but it doesn't pierce the veil to you personally. So your own personal house that's not inside the corporation might not be at risk. Whereas that same company that doesn't have a corporation and that the scaffolding falls on someone's head, they would be able to take the maximum amount of their insurance, as well as go after their personal assets.
Wow.
Everything outside of your registered accounts you can lose. Depending on how much assets and stuff like that you have, you may have more or less to lose. The liability protection might be worth more to some clients than others.
Yeah.
Especially based on the riskiness of the business. So
yeah.
All snow removal companies are highly recommended to be incorporated.
Are those dangerous? Is that why?
Unfortunately, they're one of the leading cases of slip and falls, and those are a high insurance loss area, which impacts their premiums heavily. So for clients thinking of getting into any sort of commercial or even residential snow removal, they should absolutely consult their insurance advisors before making and committing to contracts with homeowners. Otherwise, they have options to try to sign limited liabilities with them on the personal side. But with external agreements is adding complicating factors. I think that's more of a legal discussion than, and even insurance probably, than is more but I know broadly enough to advise people in those industries to seek further guidance as well.
Well, the more you know. I know a lot of times you think of corporation, you think of like No Frills, like Loblaws, Gale and Weston, those big like companies that are monopolies. Can you incorporate as an individual?
Yeah, absolutely. You can incorporate as small as on your very first dollar of sales. There is no size requirement to incorporation, and there is a large amount of small businesses here in Canada. They
Nice.
employ a large portion of our workforce.
Yeah, and would you recommend skipping right to incorporation, or would you recommend opening like a sole proprietorship before going into corporation?
That's a really good question, actually. A lot of people think, oh, I got to incorporate right away so I can hit the tax advantages. However, often businesses in their first couple of years don't earn a lot of money or even can have losses. So losses in on your personal taxes can actually benefit you if you're, say, starting your business while also working or have other sources of income throughout the year while you are operating. So typically, once you become profitable is a better time to incorporate than right away to maximize those losses on the personal side.
Yes, yeah, that's awesome. Sweet. And can you elaborate on your vision of Tycoon House becoming more of a construction and housing accounting firm, as well as the place to go to when you're looking to construct?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you thinking like kind of ideal clients or more
I guess
like organizationally grow?
I guess like whatever your ideal vision is for Tycoon House in general. So like who ideally do you want to serve? How big do you want the company to be? And how involved in construction and housing do you want to get?
Absolutely, yeah. So I see like in terms of, I'll start kind of with the clients and backfill our team to accomplish that. I like to work with real estate investors, and developers would be kind of the long-term goal, to be able to work with those types of companies and really work on their corporate structuring, making all of their projects and finances run smoothly from the accounting perspective, as well as if they don't have or are scaling up still, a little bit of that outsourced CFO type of role, looking at cash flow planning, reviewing pro formas, advising on construction timelines and stuff like that. I myself have done a couple smaller projects, conversions of basements into legal units. So, and as well as the developments on the habitat side, I kind of saw a lot of the overall process. And hopefully, as I'm able to work in with more clients in those industries, I'll be able to continue to see more of the trends that they're using and what they're successful with, to be able to continue to advise the smaller ones and the newer people joining the industry. There's a massive call for housing over the next 10 years or so. That would be really impactful for to see a lot of technology improvements to be able to hit those goals, as well as efficiencies in the industry in terms of staffing and growing of the companies with new technologies and equipments that make things so much more quick for the contractors to do for the homeowners or investors.
And I know you touched on like the need for housing, and I know that's a struggle that many Canadians are facing right now. There are programs coming out like CMHC 2% secondary suite loan, as well as refinancing for up to 90%. What is your take on those? Do you think those are truly beneficial to input a secondary suite, or is it just a buy-in for votes? We're getting political now, but
Yeah, I generally try to stay away from the political side, but those are more accounting and financial questions for sure. The uncertainty and when they'll be adopted and all that, I don't know. But I think the secondary suite program, the 80,000 at 2% is phenomenal as a first line of capital. Both the rate, it's better than any effective rate you can get out there on the market, and the time horizon to be able to repay that There's very few projects, if you're able to do the project under 80K, that wouldn't be able to return it with the merits of the project. So just the rents that will be coming in over that 15-year period. The pro formas work very well on that and provide a further boost of income to the other units on the property.
Yes, that's awesome. And I guess diving more into like tax strategy and financial strategies, what's like a common tax practice that people often overlook or don't implement that is just like a simple fix that would save you more on taxes or boost your income?
The biggest one I see and advise clients on is planning of how much salaries they're taking and who they're paying it to, depending on their shareholders. So a family business is a great example of a place where the whole family is involved and you can equalize salaries amongst the whole family to look at the tax efficiencies for the business and their whole families, as well as planning for their kids and future ownership of the business. You can really save a lot of taxes in transferring the business effectively through to your kids and making use of your lifetime capital gains exemptions.
Nice. And are there any common myths that people come in if they're your first time clients and they're meeting with you for their taxes? Are there any common myths that you normally have to debunk?
I don't know if it's a myth as much as a fear that a lot of clients are concerned that the prior accountant will stop service, won't send along documents, and all have a hard time starting up and making kind of a smooth transition and continuation of services. There is a requirement in our professional body to send what's called a courtesy letter to the prior accountant to get their financial information, as well as ask if there's any concerns about this client that would factor into your accepting of the engagement. So the best example of those ones is if a fraud case has been detected. We are required to, if you've noticed and caught a fraud of a client and you're not willing to continue their services, you would have to disclose that to the next accountant that's looking to provide their services. So that doesn't mean that I wouldn't be willing to work with the next accountant and set them up well and provide them all the information that they need to be successful with running the client. Clients make mistakes and things happen, and there is ways to fix situations. However, when you find that it's hard to repair trust once you've caught something that hasn't been brought to your attention.
Yeah, fair.
Often you can't continue services with the client once you've found something like that.
That letter does sound very courteous. That's a proper name for that. Yeah, very very courteous letter. Have you ever had any issues, I guess, transitioning clients then, or more or less like the accountant is obligated to send everything smoothly? Like every transition seems to be smooth from accountant to accountant.
Yeah, it's a little bit of how you make it too. I'll personally call the accountant and try to explain the situation and some of the reasons for and the differences in service. Often clients' needs grow and evolve and are changing. There's different geographic considerations. So there's all sorts of reasons. So it's not always, and even lots of clients become not great fits for their accounts, whether they outgrow them or change the business operations. So it's not always a reflection on the accountant. So I really try to emphasize that with them and try to guide them to an amicable kind of relationship and working relationship. I also work very well with a lot of other accountants in terms of referral partners. Because I'm on my own, I don't have all the answers, but I do have a team, and not a team, but enough contacts and resources in the industry that I can refer to and consult with to ensure that the advice that I'm providing to the clients is in their best interest and is going to work out for what their kind of goals are of in
And what highlights your service in accounting compared to other accountants?
for me, really, my service is based on creating a good, strong connection with clients and making their financial information very easy for them to approach and provide to you. So I make a very clear communication priority with clients, and I make sure to provide them checklists and templates to make some summarizing and providing me the information that I need to do my job as easy as possible to allow for the best fees and service that I can provide to them.
And in terms of like payment, I've been told accountants are paid per hour. Is that normally how the rates go?
Yeah, typically it's on a per hour basis. I don't typically quote my per hour rate. It is $150 an hour, but I quote more based on my intuition and the time that it's taken historically to do similar files. So if, as an example, if a new client's coming in and I think it's going to take about 10 hours, I would generally quote the flat rate of 1500 and quote within a range above that in case I like to provide uh, the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario in
It's a good
terms
way
of
to be.
pricing. So you don't have that surprise down the road of, oh, you said it was going to be this much and now it's $500 more. And getting into explanations as to why and stuff like that, I prefer to err on the side of caution and look for opportunities and ways to be efficient with the providing of the services.
That's a good way to be. And for anyone who's looking to become an accountant or just stepping into accounting, what are some tips and tricks or some advice that you'd give them to get ahead?
I would say, like with most business, your network is key. Who you know, both in accounting and in business, will take you far, and even more so in this day and age. Your personal reputation, what you're putting out there online, your followers, your images. When you join a company and a firm, you are an embodiment of their brand. So the stronger your personal brand, the better alignment and the stronger you make your corporate brand as well. So that would be my biggest advice: is network and build your brand.
Yeah, and for anyone starting to branch out and open their own practice, do you have any advice for them there?
Yeah, for me, collaboration is key. The more people you can have that you're able to work well with, financial advisors, insurance agents, real estate investors, real estate agents, people that are dealing with lots of clients, if you can demonstrate to them you provide a very good service, they would be there wanting and looking to refer you to their clients as because it looks good on them
Yeah,
to when you're able to refer them to someone who's going to provide them a really good service for them.
yeah.
So
Nice. And then I do have to ask, how much do you hate tax season? I know it's coming up very shortly here. Are you scared for your life, or are you growing to love it?
I've been doing tax seasons now for 10 plus years. So to me, I always think of it like the playoffs. You're going to bring your A game every day. And at the end of it, you're going to have the celebration and hopefully you win the cup. But even if you don't, you know that you were there and you gave it your all and you had a good time doing it. So I like it and I like the pressure of it as well.
Nice. That was a really good answer. I really like that. That was awesome. Anyways, if someone wanted to find you and inquire about your services, where can they find you, Stephen?
I'm starting to get online. I'm working on launching a website, Tycoon House CPA. As well, I've got a Google page up and running and Yelp right now, and then Instagram and LinkedIn are the other kind of social ones that I've been building up as well. So, would love a follow if you're interested in this sort of thing. And I am looking to put out more educational content for business owners.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And for those who are still listening, thank you for listening to today's episode of Business and Beyond. Please rank it 5 stars and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you on the next one.